What's that? Who there? Whoa.
A question I wanted to ask, this is one people love, and it's kind of the flip side. Everything you've said, metrics are going up and to the right. Everything sounds really good. People love hearing like what hasn't worked. And I'll frame it in two ways. So far, where are some of the areas that you've made some bets, big or small, and they haven't really worked out for one reason or the other? And then the second piece of it is looking forward, ideally you've built a moat enough where nothing's going to take the business fully down, like no crazy anomaly event, but like what are the things the assumptions that have to come true for you to 10x from where you are today?
Yeah. In terms of the things that, let's say haven't gone right or the bets we've made, we've built our company in a sort of possibly unusual way. I don't know how people, how else other people build their companies, but one of the things that we try to do is in every time frame, in every phase of our company, we try to solve only one problem. And so we do fail at a lot of, I don't think you're asking about iterations of, you're asking about fundamental, but we really take one problem at a time and try to solve it. And I'll illustrate what that meant for our company. Initially, the question, the very first, 6 months to a year of our company was, could we even take a real world brilliant coach and make them incredibly productive and allow them to coach at the highest level when they never meet you? And that took us exploring a huge variety of ideas. Should they zoom into your workout with you, which is not how Future works because frankly, it gives them no leverage on their time. It's a terrible idea. And so they build these bespoke workouts for you, and every single workout is built bespoke for that customer. And then it's actually async. You'll go hit start on your app and it'll guide you with audio and video. Your coach will have actually put in voiceovers just for you into every single workout, but it is asynchronous in that way. And then the points of synchronicity are in the communication. So they're texting you. Our average response time, you text your coach, nights, weekends, etc. Their average response time is 15 minutes. Like that's insane, right? And to enable that, we'd had to build a great amount of tooling to do that, to allow a coach to see the whole picture and know where they should be communicating, etc. And so anyway, the point is in the first phase of the company, the question was, how can we take one coach and give them superpowers and allow them to coach at the highest level to truly have an impact on someone, not shill, programs off a shelf, but actually understand the micro annoyances you have or constraints you have and remember those things. So we have to create institutional memory. And so in that first 6 months to a year, it looked weird from the outside because we were just building and discarding lots of things. And our friends were like, what are you guys even doing? And then, once we felt like we actually saw something, that this kind of asynchronous workout with the synchronicity of communication was now allowing us to have 4 points of synchronicity a day instead of just the one when you work out. And they're actually, even on your off days, we're talking to you. And we were like, this is an unlock. Then the second question we had, the second phase of the company was, if we give this to people, do they have anomalous success? And what we said was, every workout program, there's actually a characteristic curve of churn, like you said, in fitness products, all of them, which is at the end of a year, let's say, you basically weed out 80% of people, and the 20% who are already pretty active love this thing, right? And most fitness services look like that. And so what we wanted to see was, as we give this to random people, that we see anomalous retention. And we looked at 90 days and 120 days as kind of leading indicators. And we just kept on tweaking and shipping and building. And one of the huge dead ends that we went down was trying to have you hop on the phone with your coach like often, like every week or something. And people, especially people under 35, were like looking for every way to get out of this, right? And we're like, oh, let's make it a FaceTime. And like, just no one had any interest in that. And we realized actually we're building perfectly authentic and active relationships over text. Like, we don't need to force the issue here. And so the real question was, are people anomalously retentive or successful with it? And what we found, and what still holds, was we saw sky high retention early on, and it sustains, but also our NPS is like through the roof. People are thrilled to have someone who's working all day long for them to help them stay active. And so every time we've measured NPS, it's been over 80. At the latest measure, it's 86. It's actually one of those companies where the NPS is rising even as we scale up. And so we saw some of that in the phase. The next phase of our company was, it's great to coach people well. How can we as a company, this speaks to the business thing, do it efficiently? It's easy to blow people's mind when you're losing money hand over fist. Not that we were, but how do we actually make this a really robust picture for everybody involved, an affordable price point for the customer, or a price point that will work for, modern fitness. For the coach, it's something that is meaningful and exciting and something they can grow into. And then for the company, an actually sustainable model. And so we hired our COO, and she's a brilliant person. She came from Square and eBay. She worked at my last company as well as an executive. And then she went out and thought about how can we continue to give coaches superpowers while maintaining that personal touch. And like I said, in 2020 was an interesting year for us for many reasons, but one of the most interesting thing was through that year, our average coach doubled the number of clients that they could serve, and our NPS rose, meaning we actually were doing a better and better job of being attuned to who is Rishi, what does he care about? I'm going to talk trash about his basketball team, and I haven't mentioned his daughter in 6 months. I probably should do that. And all of the picture that needs to come into place, we've built tools and tech around and process around. And so we've tried to build in phases and stages and just solve one problem. And that's allowed us to be very wrong and not feel like panicked, because we know we've given ourselves some pretty generous time horizon to solve those problems. So then to your next question, which is, so what keeps us up at night, or what are the strategic threats to our business? And I think one big one is in fitness and consumer fitness. How do you cut through the clutter? And historically, fitness is one of these really interesting markets where you can't make results-based claims because they sound like spam. If we say we'll give you a better workout for less, or six-pack abs in 12 weeks or less guaranteed, it all sounds like marketing cliche and spam. And so if you can't stand on the actual result we see, which is incredible, the question is how do you find your lane? And so that's one of the things that we're doing for the very first time. It's so interesting to be 3.5 years into our company, and our company is, growing, and there's a lot of reasons that is the case. But most recently, again, we solved problems with ownership. We brought in our CMO. He was previously the CMO from Hotel Tonight and the CMO StubHub, and someone who is really both a passionate user and an experienced person in this regard, to really think about how do you cut through the clutter and tell this story about Future is really the only brand or company of consequence in fitness that actually wants to give you somebody who one-on-one with you is like in your life every single day. Most people are afraid of that. As you'd said, one-to-one pairing of experts is an obvious idea, but most people are scared to do it. And so we feel like we figured that piece out, but now how to speak to people, that's the next challenge. That's what we work on. Scaling up 10X is the challenge of the day.